Soniki. There were a few episodes which were really dark and upsetting. One that I can recall took place in summer, but before that, I mentioned yesterday, I had this transfer on New Year's Eve, and my best guess is that it was 31st of December 1988. It was a daunting thing. It was I don't know if humiliating is the word, but nasty, to use the very stable genius special word. I mean, to send one to do something on New Year's Eve and lose with that with a special night, something which many here and elsewhere prepare so much for. They start now. Many would start now to look and book a place in a restaurant and organize and think of the party guests who will come. Anyway, it's true that this was a métier, a job where weekends were anyway a thing, a holiday lost, not something one waited for to rest, because this is when others, clients, had their time off, and this is when they booked a trip to Dracula's castle, monasteries of Moldavia and whatever. So weekends were working days. Mondays and the other days of the week were very often days off because people worked and didn't take a trip to anywhere. In summer, at other times they did, but I'm talking as a rule now. So it was termina annoying. Also in that it wasn't money making. It was just something, a favor or something unpleasant I had to do in order to get other things more pleasant, with more potential. It's also true that years later, maybe 92, 3 or 4, it wasn't on New Year's Eve, but right after, on the 1st of January, I took a trip to Horezu and the monasteries of Voltenia with my brother-in-law today. He was the boyfriend of my sister, Johnny Jonuts. He was also in the tourist business. We had a few things together. He has with me a very nice letter of recommendation from the British Embassy, because there were things we did together, and there were some things I could do with him, worked for me. He even teased me, joked, mocked me for that. Yes, boss, or something. So on the 1st of January, something close to a blizzard, we had to work. We had to take with 2 cars, I with mine and he with his Volkswagen. Both were Volkswagen by that time, perhaps. And because I had an Audi and then I had a Volkswagen Passat, using it for trips when it worked. Because at some point it was old and getting tired. The car. And that was the thing. And we did work. 1st of January, no New Year's Eve celebrations, because the following day, waking up in the early morning and starting off to Râmnicu Vâlcea, Horezu, spend the night, and then see what there is around. Dintr-un lemn, a monastery of one wood, something like that in translation, and others around. Okay, returning. We went to Panabashov, and it was a time when those working for the tourist office for tours for foreign clients, especially in my position without the connections, the strong back or anything, were quite disregarded. And that was such a case. It's also true it happened to Romanian regular clients when they were in a hotel. There were cases, and it was overbooked. Some German tourists came in, let's say. The Romanians were thrown out to get the cash. That was the priority. Ceausescu did everything to get hard currency, and of course he did anything he could to his people. Hunger, no freedom, cold, no lights, no electricity, you name it. That was the way. So when we went there, we didn't even have a place at the table. That was fucked up. And the motherfuckers wouldn't even have us take a seat somewhere because they didn't plan. Probably it was crowded, it was in demand, but the fuckers didn't care. There were some of those special guides would go into, had the biggest Romanian furniture company. There's my friend who is there, one of the, who knows, top 10 richest, and okay, and then there's another one who has one of the biggest tour operators, and they all went on to do. That was an interesting school, one of the few places where you could show some enterprise, you could learn to do some things. But some of them were really, this is where they learned to be ruthless, to be heartless, and so on. So we didn't have a place at the table. That was crazy, man. They should have bloody well did something, in the words of Peterson. Jordan Peterson keeps repeating. That's an upsetting aspect about him. Bloody, damn, and what else? Man. Okay. So, where are we? We have some time left. Maybe. Yeah, so we stayed on the corridor, I remember that. True, mine is its own place. It can make heaven out of hell or hell out of heaven. It's bad to make hell out of heaven when I was with the most spectacular woman around, and in this part of Europe, maybe. So, on the one hand, yeah, no place at the table on New Year's Eve when it was work. Well, at least the beginning of it. We took the clients from the airport at, who knows, 10 o'clock in the evening, and we arrived there at 1. In the morning, we left with a bus. Same bus, probably, same driver. It could have been another one going down towards Bucharest from Poana Brașov, but we stopped along the way in Busteni, where we stayed at. I know the place, I have it in my mind. I don't know what the name is. Anyway, it changed. It has a name. He scares me to death. One of these days I would collapse in the middle of the video. And I'm not sorry for myself. I'm sorry for you, large audience, because you'll be missing that. I mean, there will be nobody to post it, and so. Anyway, Um, the biggest one in that small resort. It was on the right hand side as you come from Brasov. And we had a room. I think I must have booked it. Maybe it was Busteni because the other places were to the brim. I wonder how that was possible for Busteni, but anyway, it was. Some would just go to party for the New Year's Eve and then leave the next day in the morning or at noon. However, it was, we stayed there. But it was already frustrating because of what I mentioned in some of the other episodes. We kissed, we fondled, we foreplayed, but to no end and to no purpose, because it was just an arousal, a tension rising and rising and rising, and with no outlet except, of course, masturbation. And at one point I remember in this Bushten, I said, okay, I'm I can't stand it anymore. I'm mad as hell and I can't take it anymore. That's from the network. The man who goes crazy, the anchor. He's like one of those Fox guys and women. Basically the scum of the earth. They pour poison into the minds of, granted, already idiots to the extreme, tens of millions of Americans, aka Americans. So it's impossible. And then she found a solution, and it was oral sex, and that was what we had as a solution for the 6 months to come, during which we were boyfriend and girlfriend, lovers, whatever you can call that. 69 at times, but mostly it was blowjobs, because of that peculiar situation where I mentioned she wanted to take it further, but then the father was not okay, and she thought this is not okay. She had it in mind that maybe we have to wait, maybe it's a question of marriage, I'm not sure, and let's finish this chapter here and continue with what happened after this tomorrow.